All right, let's get right into it. We're going to tackle 25 really important words that you're likely to see on your IBA exam. Now, to make this super easy to remember, we've broken them down into 5 simple, memorable groups. Let's get started.
Okay, let's dive into our first group. These words are all about, well, troublemakers. We're talking about people who break the rules, show off, and maybe aren't being totally honest.
First up, we have the word flaunt. So what does it mean to flaunt something? It's basically when you show something off because you're really proud of it and you want everybody to look at you. You know, like when someone gets a brand new, expensive phone and they just happen to hold it up all the time? Yeah, they're flaunting it. It often has a bit of a negative feel, like the person is being a little arrogant.
Now listen closely, because this next one, flout, sounds similar, but it's totally different. To flout a rule is to break it on purpose, right out in the open. It's like you know the rule exists, but you're showing everyone that you just don't care. If the sign says, keep off the grass, and you decide to have a picnic right in the middle of it, you are flouting the rule.
So, let's nail this down because it's super important. You flaunt something you have, like a new car or a fancy degree, but you flout a rule you're supposed to follow. One is about showing off what you've got, the other is about showing disrespect for the rules.
Okay, now for a couple of words about being dishonest. First, feign. To feign something is to fake it, usually a feeling or an illness. Let's say you really don't want to go to a meeting, you might feign a headache. The other word here is devious. A person who is devious is tricky and sneaky. They make clever, dishonest plans to get what they want. You have to watch out for a devious politician or a devious plot in a movie.
So what happens when a company flouts the law or a leader uses devious plans? Well, you often get an uproar. An uproar is just a lot of public noise and anger. Imagine a big, loud protest where people are shouting and are really upset about something. That's an uproar.
All right, on to our second group. I like this one because the words kind of tell a mini story about how an idea or some energy can appear, fade away, and maybe even come back again. Every story needs a beginning, a spark, and that's exactly what ignite means. Literally, you ignite a fire, but we use it all the time for feelings and ideas. A really powerful speech can ignite hope in people. A new scientific discovery can ignite a whole new field of research. It's all about starting something big. But, after that big initial spark, things don't always stay intense. Sometimes, the energy can start to wane. To wane means to get weaker or smaller over time. The best way to remember this is to think of the moon. After a full moon, it starts to wane, getting a little smaller each night. In the same way, your excitement for a new video game might wane after you've played it for 100 hours. And if that energy wanes too much, life can start to feel a little humdrum. Humdrum is the perfect word for when everything is boring, repetitive, and just the same old thing every day. Get up, go to class, come home, study, sleep. If there's no excitement, that's a humdrum routine.
But wait, things can make a comeback. That's what a revival is. It's when something that was weak or unpopular becomes strong and popular again. You might see a revival of 80s music, or a city might experience an economic revival. It's all about bringing something back to life. And finally, to end our little cycle, every action can cease. Cease is just a more formal word for stop. The factory might cease production. The fighting might cease. Also, check out these 2 phrases. Without cease means continuously, without stopping. And if something never ceases to amaze you, it means it always amazes you.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk about feelings. This next group has some really powerful words to describe everything from magical happiness to really deep anger.
So on the positive side, we've got enchanted and enamored. To be enchanted by something means you're so delighted it almost feels like magic. A beautiful song or a stunning view could leave you feeling enchanted. Enamored is very similar, but it's more about being filled with love or deep admiration. You could be enamored of a person or enamored with the study of poetry.
And this is a perfect example of a word family. A charming person can enchant you, but let's say you find out they lied to you. Suddenly, you become disenchanted. You've lost that magical feeling, and now you're just disappointed. The lie itself can disenchant you. See how that works?
Oh, I love this next word, imbue. To imbue someone with a feeling is to completely fill them with it. Imagine pouring confidence into your friend before a big presentation. That's what a good leader does. They imbue their team with a sense of purpose. It's a really beautiful concept.
Now let's look at the other side of the coin. If you are aggrieved, you are angry and upset specifically because you feel you've been treated unfairly. It's not just any anger, it's the anger that comes from injustice. The team that lost because of a bad referee call would feel very aggrieved. And if that aggrieved feeling isn't resolved, it can fester and turn into rancor. Rancor is not just being mad for a day. It is a deep, bitter, poisonous hatred that lasts for a long, long time. It's the kind of feeling that can ruin friendships or make political debates really ugly.
All right, this next group gives you some great tools. These are all describing words. They'll help you be much more specific when you're talking about people, ideas, and situations.
Let's do a quick-fire round here. First, viral. This usually describes a man who is strong, energetic, and full of life. Next, vacuous. This is a negative word that means empty-headed or lacking any intelligent thoughts. A vacuous celebrity interview is one where they say absolutely nothing of substance. Then we have dependent. Pretty straightforward. If you're dependent on something, you rely on it. And finally, awash. This means totally flooded or filled with something, like a city awash with tourists in the summer. Now here's a really cool contrast for you. We just talked about the word vacuous, which means empty of ideas, right? Well, a parable is the complete opposite. A parable is a short, simple story that is designed to be completely full of meaning. It's meant to teach you a moral lesson about life. Okay, here we are at our final group. These words are all about process, logic, and making sure you do things the right way and at the right time.
Let's think about this group as a logical three-step process. Step 1. You await something. This is just a slightly more formal way of saying you wait for it. You might await your exam results. Step 2. You deduce something. This means you use clues and logic to figure out an answer. Detectives deduce the killer's identity from the evidence. And step 3, you act. And you should act duly, which means in the correct and proper way, and promptly, which means right away, without delay.
And for our last two words, let's clear up some common confusion. First, foregoing. This is an adjective, a describing word. It just means the thing I just mentioned. For example, based on the foregoing discussion, we should change our plan. But forgo, or sometimes spelled F-O-R-G-O, is a verb. It's an action. It means you choose to give something up. You might forgo dessert to be healthier, or forgo a night out to study. One's a description, the other's a decision.